The Westminster School Dubai welcomes you to the new staff induction program. This module will guide you on the National Curriculum of England, NCfE. Before we proceed, let's take a look at the objectives of this module. To understand the following about the National Curriculum of England: aims, overview, the structure, key stages, year, age, core and non-core subjects, program of study subjects, and learning. The national curriculum provides pupils with an introduction to the essential knowledge that they need to be educated citizens. An outline of core knowledge around which teachers can develop exciting and stimulating lessons to promote the development of pupils' knowledge, understanding and skills as part of the wider school curriculum. Overview. The national curriculum is a set of subjects and standards used by primary and secondary schools. The schools are required to follow the statutory national curriculum, which sets out in programs of study, on the basis of key stages, subject content for those subjects that should be taught to all pupils. All schools should make provision for personal, social, health and economic education, PSHE, and are free to include other subjects or topics in designing their own program of education. The framework includes 6 elements: overall school curriculum, the statutory national curriculum for England, inclusion, numeracy and mathematics, language and literacy, revised programs of study for all the national curriculum. Let us now watch a short video to know about the structure of the national curriculum.
Now let me explain a little about the national curriculum. It is basically a framework to help standardize the content across all schools, which all state schools have to follow. However, private schools do not have to follow the national curriculum strictly. The national curriculum is divided into 5 key stages known as KS1, KS2, KS3, and KS4. Year 1 marks the stage where assessments will be undertaken in one form or other. In Year 1, children will learn phonics and reading for English and maths. At the end of Year 1, there will be a phonics screening check, which will be teacher assessed. In Year 2, in addition to teachers' assessments in English, maths and science, there will also be a national test on phonics. This will include real words and made-up words to determine if a child is pronouncing a word phonetically. KS2 will run from Year 3 to Year 6, and there will be 2 tests. The first one is a cognitive ability test, which will be done in Year 4. This will test how well a student can think about tasks and solve problems using a range of different questions. The test doesn't require any prior knowledge, and is not something that you need to learn. The questions are generally similar to verbal and non-verbal questions. The results will help determine which way a child learns best, like verbally or visually. The other test will be done in Year 6 and is known as a SETS. This is basically a national test as well as teachers' assessments in English and maths as well as science. We then move on to Key Stage 3, which is for Years 7, 8 and 9 in secondary school. The tests include core subjects such as English, maths and science, other subjects like languages, humanities such as literature, history, geography, religious knowledge, citizenship, computing, PE, arts, DT, music, are also tested. Key Stage 4 is for Years 10 and 11. During these stages, students will be working towards the GCSEs in subjects that they have chosen. Generally, one will take 5 GCSEs, but most students take more than that. KS5 is for the 6th form, and it comprises of 2 levels, sometimes called the AS in the first year and A in the second year. The 6th form really focuses on the A-level examinations. This exam will determine the course that a student will be eligible for in university. Generally, students take 3 or 4 subjects.
The structure of the national curriculum, in terms of which subjects are compulsory at each key stage, is set out in the table here. Program of study. The following few slides will show the main domains of each of the core and foundation subjects. By the end of each key stage, pupils are expected to know, apply and understand the matters, skills and processes specified in the relevant program of study. The overarching aim for English in the national curriculum is to promote high standards of language and literacy by equipping pupils with a strong command of the spoken and written word, and to develop their love of literature through widespread reading for enjoyment. Pupils should be taught to speak clearly and convey ideas confidently using standard English. The national curriculum for mathematics aims to ensure that all pupils become fluent in the fundamentals of mathematics, reason mathematically, solve problems by applying their mathematics to a variety of routine and non-routine problems. Let us watch a short video to know more about the aims of mathematics.
So Debbie, what is at the heart of this new curriculum?
At the heart of the mathematics new curriculum are the three aims of fluency, reasoning and problem solving. And fluency is about knowing number facts, knowing tables, being proficient in algorithms, but it's more than that. It's also about having the understanding, so you've then got the flexibility to know when to apply those techniques and those strategies, and also to reason from what you know. For example, if you know 12 times 12 is 144, you can work out that 13 times 12 is 156.
Can you tell us a bit more about problem solving in classrooms like this?
Problem solving, as one of the aims of the national curriculum, is at the heart of mathematics. It involves the other aim of reasoning. For example, in a classroom, there's lots of good practice at the moment happening. For example, talk partners used in classrooms where a child is asked to talk to their partner about what's meant by numerator and denominator, or is a half always larger than a quarter, and have those reasoning discussions. So reasoning is at the heart of mathematics.
Is this new curriculum harder than the one it's replacing?
The curriculum does set higher expectations, and teachers need to think carefully about those. For example, an objective relating to fractions might well have been presently in year 3, may well be moving into year 2. Teaching it the same isn't necessarily going to achieve those high expectations. Teachers may need to think differently about how they achieve them. For example, what representations they might use to bring mathematics, which is an abstract subject, into the concrete. Representations such as 100 squares, number lines we're all very familiar with, but maybe how we might use those more effectively to support children not just doing the maths, but actually understanding the maths, so they can move away and become more proficient within that. Also maybe new representations such as place value counters and the bar model used widely in Japan and Singapore, which has proven to be very effective in enabling children to understand mathematics.
What's the National Centre doing to help teachers and schools generally prepare for and implement this new curriculum?
National Centre is doing a lot of things really. It's got a dedicated part of its website where it's got practical materials on there to support teachers in planning. It's also got video materials to show how some of these higher expectations can be achieved in classrooms. It's also running a programme for those who support professional development, both teachers in school and those independent consultants, to prepare them for the new curriculum. And it's also in conjunction with Enrich and the Maths Associations running a programme for subject leaders which will be delivered across the country.
You've been a teacher in classrooms just like this one. From your own experience, how much do you think teachers are being asked to change what they do in implementing this new curriculum?
First of all, I'd like to say there's a lot of good practice going on, and teachers need to hang on to things that are working well, particularly things that support the fluency, reasoning and problem solving. But they may need to think about some things differently, particularly when there's higher expectations for younger children. Am I using the resources effectively in order for children to access mathematics in a way that's appropriate for them to reason and make sense of it? Another aspect is that this curriculum is underpinned by a mastery principle. That means that we keep the class together so that everybody gets a deep mastery understanding of the curriculum and are more able, in line with the ACME report and other research, suggests that actually supporting young able mathematicians need to have a deeper understanding rather than accelerating them into new curriculum content.
The National Curriculum for Science aims to ensure that all pupils develop scientific knowledge and conceptual understanding, develop understanding of the nature, processes and methods of science through different types of science inquiries. Students are equipped with the scientific knowledge required to understand the uses and implications of science, today and for the future.
The expert group have identified that there are some changes in the scientific knowledge that our teachers are going to require. They're also going to need to think quite a lot about how to develop scientific inquiry in those knowledge areas and how to embed that in their teaching and learning. This is particularly for all primary and secondary teachers up to Key Stage 3, but it's also for teacher trainees and their mentors. So it's an area where they're going to need to do some continuing professional development to embed these new concepts in their teaching and learning. In order to achieve the higher standards and compete with other countries in the world, there will be an increase on scientific inquiry skills and identifying questions that can be asked and answered and their application to the real world. There's also an increase in the mathematical analysis skills that children are required to undertake, and also an understanding of how scientific ideas have developed over time, in particular the work of famous scientists and how they have developed those ideas. And there's also an acquisition of particular scientific knowledge. So, for example, at Key Stage 1 and 2, there's more emphasis on evolution, inheritance and genetics. And in Key Stage 3, there are some concepts that have come from Key Stage 4. So there's going to be a need for greater attention to planning progression in concepts all the way through the curriculum and all the way through a child's educational experience.
The National Curriculum for Geography aims to ensure that all pupils develop contextual knowledge of the location of globally significant places and become competent in the geographical skills, communicate geographical information in a variety of ways, including through maps, numerical and quantitative skills and writing at length. The National Curriculum for Computing aims to ensure that all pupils can understand and apply the fundamental principles and concepts of computer science, including abstraction, logic, algorithms and data representation, can evaluate and apply information technology, including new or unfamiliar technologies, analytically to solve problems. The National Curriculum for Design and Technology aims to ensure that all pupils develop the creative, technical and practical expertise needed to perform everyday tasks confidently and to participate successfully in an increasingly technological world. When designing and making, pupils should be taught to design, make, evaluate and technical knowledge. The National Curriculum for Languages aims to ensure that all pupils understand and respond to spoken and written language from a variety of authentic sources, can write at varying length, for different purposes and audiences, using the variety of grammatical structures that they have learned, discover and develop an appreciation of a range of writing in the language studied. The National Curriculum for Art and Design aims to ensure that all pupils produce creative work, exploring their ideas and recording their experiences, become proficient in drawing, painting, sculpture and other art, craft and design techniques, evaluate and analyze creative works using the language of art, craft and design. Know about great artists, craft makers and designers, and understand the historical and cultural development of their art forms. The National Curriculum for Music aims to ensure that all pupils perform, listen to, review and evaluate music across a range of historical periods, genres, styles and traditions, including the works of the great composers and musicians. Create and compose music on their own and with others. Have the opportunity to learn a musical instrument, use technology appropriately and have the opportunity to progress to the next level of musical excellence. Understand and explore how music is created, produced and communicated, including through the interrelated dimensions: pitch, duration, dynamics, tempo, timbre, texture, structure and appropriate musical notations. Pupils should develop fundamental movement skills, become increasingly competent and confident and access a broad range of opportunities to extend their agility, balance and coordination, individually and with others. They should be able to engage in competitive, both against self and against others, and cooperative physical activities, in a range of increasingly challenging situations. Thank you for your valued time and careful listening. Please scan the QR code to access the links to the programs of study of the National Curriculum for England and an insight into the learning for music, PE and modern languages.